AG. What's AG stand for?
AG stands for Alex Gervais. The one thing Alex always said to me was, I never want to go back to a hotel room by myself, ever. They've already done that to him. He hated it. He said if I was to ever go back into a hotel room like that, I think I'd lose my mind. Like, this is a life. This is someone's life that they just threw away.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. The death of Alex Gervais has brought to the forefront a
Here's a quick look at the day's headlines. Calgary police want to hear from anyone who is at this bar in the early morning hours of September 27th. They say 3 men forced a woman into a car and took her to a home where she was sexually assaulted. She later escaped. The suspects may speak Spanish and are believed to be between 25 and 50 years old.
There are certainly lots of challenges and opportunities for us going forward, but there's an incredible amount of hope for this service going forward as well.
It's official. That's Calgary's new chief of police speaking late this afternoon. Roger Chaffin starts the job on October the 19th. And politicians and parents beating a path to the door of the Calgary Board of Education today. They were marching to protest new bus routes that are forcing some school kids to walk a lot farther to catch their ride this year. All right, that takes us to the top of the clock. It is 6 o'clock.
This is CBC Calgary News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us as we go behind the headlines on this Tuesday, October the 6th. I'm Rob Brown in the CBC Calgary studio. Welcome. On the show tonight, a conversation with Bob Hart.
This is CBC Edmonton News.
Well, this is a story that has been trending all day. There may be an app for everything, but should there be? An Alberta woman developing the controversial human rating app People has taken down her website and social media accounts. It was supposed to allow users to rate people as they would a restaurant. But lots of people, like this guy, gave it a big thumbs down. Seems many on the internet just didn't like the idea. We haven't been able to reach the app's creator, though on a post, she said she had received death threats. I'm Adrienne Pad, and this is CBC Edmonton News. They were big promises and now long delays. More than 100.
I'm meteorologist Christy Kleiman-Haga, and it was just a beautiful day through Saskatchewan today. Lots of sunshine. You can see from our satellite and radar, though, right now, even starting to see things changing. More cloud cover moving in by tonight, and that should continue tomorrow. So a little bit of a gloomy day ahead. I'll have more on that coming up in the next 15 minutes. Jill?
Loved the weather today, Christy. Got to smell the fresh fall leaves and lovely feeling. We've got 30 minutes. Let's get started with your local news. Tonight, time is running out. Stephen Harper zeroes in on Saskatoon. Also, a stolen truck, a path of destruction in Regina's Cathedral neighborhood, and 2 arrests.
It was like a bad movie. It was like somebody had set up a movie set, you know, one of those car chase movies.
And why those pricey grad banquets are canceled at Regina's public schools.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, October 6th, and CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Conservatives hold all but 1 seat in Saskatchewan, but apart from 1 visit to Regina.
This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for CBC News Winnipeg, now at 6 o'clock. At least 2 Winnipeg doctors.
This is CBC Windsor News.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Shing. Our top story tonight, will $1 billion be enough to change the opinion of labor unions? Stephen Harper announced the funding today, saying it's to offset the effects of the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
I'm Anne-Marie Meadowake. This is a special edition of CBC Toronto News. We are live tonight at Kennedy Station, the end of Line 2, the Bloor-Danforth subway line, and the heart of a battleground riding. We're going to be talking transit, one of the top priorities for voters here. First, though, here are your headlines.
to go to the game or to go to work.
I'm the mayor. I'm going to cheer on the team.
The Jays kick off their playoff series on Thursday. I'm Natalie Collada, and IS fans, if you have tickets, how are you planning to get off work?
Now we're getting into more organized crime groups.
I'm Trevor Dunn. A new wave of criminals is making it harder to solve break-and-enters. Who are they? How do they work? And what tools do they use?
This is CBC Toronto News.
Good evening, I'm Dwight Drummond. He gets 5 years, we got a life sentence. That's the message from the family who lost a father and daughter to a drunk driver. Michelle Chung was in court today for Sebastian Proza's sentencing.
Ottawa News. The labor dispute in our public elementary schools has taken a new turn, and it's causing concerns that go well beyond report cards without comments and canceled field trips. Support staff are refusing to buzz in visitors, so schools are simply leaving their doors unlocked. Ashley Burke was out talking to parents about the move, and as you'll hear, some of them are steaming. And is a new pilot project on Canadian campuses actually getting more young people out to vote? Simon Gardner visited Carleton University today to check out the new polling stations and find out whether they're making a difference. Breaking news tonight on an issue.
At 6 o'clock tonight, Ottawa puts the brakes on Montreal's plans to dump raw sewage into the St. Lawrence River. But are they just playing politics? Dozens of Hungarians are stopped from getting onto flights to Canada. What happens to those left behind? Part 2 of our special investigation. And
as a musician, you know, it takes a long, years to be saving up and buying these things, these tools that you need.
Montreal musicians banding together to support one of their own. Got a quick look at weather now with Frank. Still a lot of cloud out there, Frank.
Yeah, still some cloud out there. No rain, though. We do have some breaks, as you can see, over the Great Lakes. And as we zoom into Montreal, we've got clouds and breaks. Partly cloudy skies tonight. No rain in the forecast. Tomorrow, some cloud. The sun will return tomorrow afternoon. All the details coming up. Your CBC Montreal News starts right now.
This is CBC Montreal News.
Good evening. I'm Deborah Arbeck. Thank you for joining us. The city's plan to dump billions of liters of raw sewage into the St. Lawrence River is once again on hold. The federal government has stepped in, and Denis Lebel, Stephen Harper's right-hand man here in Quebec, says
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. It is the biggest trade deal in history, signed by a dozen Pacific.
Mark, and you're watching Compass at 6, and it starts right now.
This is CBC Compass.
And this is Tuesday, October 6th. Here's what's happening right now on Prince Edward Island. Two people want to be the interim leader of the PC party. Jamie Foxx and Darlene Compton are now officially in the running. How one small PEI rink went from barely surviving to thriving. We traveled to Bedeque for that story. And this kid really knows how to fish. He may have broken his own world record for the second time. This is Compass at 6, our top story tonight, the race to lead the progressive.
Good evening, I'm Tom Murphy.
And I'm Amy Smith. Here are the headlines for Nova Scotia.
Amazement was the reaction. Sydney-born, world celebrated. A Nova Scotian wins the Nobel Prize for Physics.
This is an offense that does cause significant psychological harm to the victim.
The case of the Nova Scotia teen convicted of extortion and child porn involving Facebook.
And more trouble for HMCS Athabascan. Once again, it's engine problems.
This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Plus, Carolyn Ray with 2 men honored for their bravery.
More on that later, but first to our top story. A Nova Scotia-born scientist became a member of one of the world's most exclusive clubs today.
Yes, indeed. Arthur McDonald was named a co.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Tonight, the search for the suspect.
The manhunt continues in the shooting death of a bystander at the captain's quarters. The RNC is still looking for the man responsible for a fatal armed robbery on Saturday night.
And tonight, we have a picture of the suspect to show you from the surveillance video.
Good evening, I'm Debbie Cooper.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes. Welcome to Here and Now.
And here's what else is making news tonight.
This coffee shop suddenly shut down last night, putting its employees out of work.
I was too scared and I lived in fear.
We're looking at domestic violence and one woman's struggle to escape an abusive marriage.
Illegal smokes. New research shows how many contraband cigarettes are smoked in this province. What does that mean for the government?
High pressure holds on for one more day on the island, but it's building clouds and showers moving into Labrador. Your full weather story coming up a little later on.
Our top.
Here's what's happening right now in Atlantic Canada. The manhunt continues in St. John's for the suspect in a fatal armed robbery. The Nobel Prize for Physics is awarded to a Cape Breton-born researcher. Police in Moncton respond to another rash of brazen car break-ins. And why some small PEI rinks are on thin ice.
Kaylin in the Weather Center. Sun for a good deal of Atlantic Canada tomorrow, but showers moving into Labrador. More on that in your forecast.
Hello and welcome to Atlantic Tonight. I'm Amy Smith. The manhunt for the suspect.
Igalaaq nuita simmiyok. Unnuk pivaleyuni. Ikalong ni nunalipaw yakut isumalu timinnik. Kanuktuko ti kakaswalauktut kangattayoktit pitsutigillugin. Ammalo. Inuit Labradorimi tuksiraktut kinaw yanik mamiavyugumallutilo atong nilulaok si mayang minut ilinerer titaw balaw ninginnun. Ay inokatik kay marlan alakkarelaw bunga tungasugit Igalaaq nuita simitillugo. Tema tusakatta simagatta amisut piuk sanginninginnik takwa kangat.
Tonight, Promises, Promises, a look at what candidates are pledging to do for the North. Competition Bureau, authorities get an earful of complaints about northern air travel. Yukon Energy, the push for hydropower over home heating oil.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Ashley Brawweiler. Wind warnings have been issued for parts of Nunavut and Nunavik. I'll tell you when coming up.
Good evening, I'm Randy Henderson. We begin tonight in Yellowknife, where the NDP launched its northern platform today. The party has